civil engineering structures are built on ground, which is nothing else but soil. Soil is often described using several characteristics, including texture, structure, density, temperature, color, consistency, and porosity. One of the most important properties of soil is the consistency. So, we will be having a discussion regarding the consistency limits, which is one of the most important term in the field of geotechnical engineering. Consistency of a fine-grained soil is the physical state in which it exists. It is used to denote the degree of firmness of soil, and it changes with the amount of water. Consistency of a soil is indicated by the terms soft, firm, and hard. Albert Atterberg is the scientist who created the Atterberg limits. Atterberg was the one who mentioned that fine-grained soil can exist in 4 states. They are shown in the figure: liquid state, plastic state, semi-solid state, and solid state. So consistency limit is also known as Atterberg's limit. So the consistency limits or Atterberg limit can be defined as the water content at which soil changes from one state to the other. So coming to the liquid limit, considering this figure, a soil containing high water content is in liquid state. Fine-grained soil in large quantities of water results in suspension, as shown in the figure 2. So it offers no shear resistance and can flow like a liquid. So shear strength equals to 0. When the water content is reduced, soil becomes stiffer and start developing resistance to shear deformation. Then the soil starts changing from liquid to plastic state. Hence, liquid limit is the water content at which the soil changes from liquid state to plastic state. It is the boundary of water content between liquid and plastic state, and soil does not flow like a liquid. The liquid limit for soil can be determined using Casagrande's apparatus or by concentration method. So by using the Casagrande's apparatus, the steps are: so about 100 gram of soil specimen passing through 425 micron sieve is mixed with distilled water in a dish, and a portion of a paste is placed in the cup of liquid limit device as shown in figure. Level the mix to a maximum depth of 1 cm. Draw the grooving tool through the sample along the symmetrical axis of the cup, holding the tool perpendicular to the cup as shown in figure number 4. Then rotate the handle of Casagrande's apparatus at a rate of about 2 revolutions per second, and number of blows are counted till the 2 parts come into contact at the bottom of the groove. By altering the water content and repeating operations, more readings are taken. The liquid limit is the water content at which the soil is sufficiently fluid to flow when the device is given 25 blows. As it is difficult to get exactly 25 blows for the sample to flow, the test is conducted at different water contents, so as to get blows in the range of 10 to 40. The liquid limit is determined by plotting graph on the semi-low graph between the number of blows as abscissa on a logarithmic and water content as ordinate as shown in figure number 5. So this graph is known as flow curve. From the graph, the water content corresponding to 25 blows is determined, and it is the liquid limit of the soil. So next one is the plastic limit. In the plastic state, the soil can be molded into different shapes without rupturing. It is due to its plasticity. When water content is further reduced, its plasticity will be reduced. Soil starts changing from plastic state to semi-solid state. So telling about semi-solid state, if you mold the soil, it will cracks because soil loses its plasticity and becomes brittle. So plastic limit of a soil can be described as the water content at which soil stops being plastic and changes to semi-solid state. The plastic limit of a soil can be determined by the following steps. So the step 1 is that about 30 gram of oven dried soil specimen passing through 425 micron sieve is taken and mixed with distilled water until the soil mass becomes plastic enough to be easily molded into a bowl with fingers. Then take a portion of the bowl and roll it on a glass plate to form a thread of uniform diameter throughout its length as shown in figure 7. When the diameter reaches 3 mm, the soil is remolded into a bowl. The process of rolling and remolding is repeated until the soil thread crumbles. The test is repeated, taking a fresh sample each time. The plastic limit is taken as the average of 3 values. We have already completed the discussions regarding liquid limit and plastic limit. Now the last one is shrinkage limit, and it is the smallest water content at which the soil is saturated. So on reducing further amount of water, soil mass changes from semi-solid state to solid state. Soil converts into a soil mass which has pore partially filled with water. So on reducing water content, volume of the soil remains the same, but its pore water get reduced. Hence, we can reach in the conclusion that no volume change with water content reduction and soil does not shrink anymore. In general, as the soil loses moisture either in its natural environment or by artificial means, in laboratory, it changes from liquid state to plastic state, from plastic state to semi-solid state, and then to solid state. Volume changes also occur with changes in water content, but there is a particular limit at which any moisture change does not cause soil any volume change. Hence, water content at which soil stops shrinking called shrinkage limit. On further reduction of water content below shrinkage limit, sample begins to dry at surface and soil is no longer saturated, and the color of the sample also begin to change. The shrinkage limit is useful in areas where soils undergo large volume changes. So next we are going to discuss about the procedure for determining the shrinkage limit of the soil. So in the given PPT I have shown the general steps and I will be detailing more about it. So first we need to take about 50 grams of soil which is passing through 425 micron sieve and mix it well with distilled water to make a creamy paste which is to be placed in the shrinkage dish without having any air bubbles. One thing is that the amount of water content which is used for mixing should be somewhat greater than the liquid limit. So the shrinkage dish has a flat bottom and has its internal corners well rounded. So determine the mass of the shrinkage dish. The next step is that fill the mercury inside the shrinkage dish and remove the excess mercury by pressing the plain glass plate over the top of the shrinkage dish. Transfer the mercury of shrinkage dish to the mercury weighing dish and determine the mass. So the volume of the shrinkage dish is obtained, which is equal to the mass of mercury divided by the specific gravity of mercury. Then next step is to coat inside the shrinkage dish with a thin layer of silicone grease or Vaseline. After that, fill the shrinkage dish with soil paste as 3 layers. While adding the soil paste, tap the shrinkage dish in order to make the soil thoroughly compacted. Then determine the mass of the wet soil. After that, dry the soil in shrinkage dish in the air until the color of the pad turns from dark to light. Then dry it in the oven. So in the figure number 9, it clearly shows the change of soil mass before shrinkage and after shrinkage. Then next step is that place a glass cup in a large evaporating dish and fill it with mercury. Then take out the dry pad of the soil from the shrinkage dish and immerse it in the glass cup full of mercury. Press the plate with prongs on the top of the cup firmly as shown in figure number 9. Then collect the mercury displaced by the dry pad in the evaporating dish and transfer it to the mercury weighing dish. Determine the mass of the mercury. Volume of the dry soil pad is equal to the mass of mercury divided by specific gravity of the mercury. We need to repeat the test at least 3 times. Then the shrinkage limit is determined from the relation Ws equals m1 minus ms minus v1 minus v2. This multiplied by rho w whole divided by ms into 100. So M1 is the initial wet mass and V1 is the initial volume, Ms is the dry mass and V2 is the volume after drying. So in associated with the shrinkage limit, there are 4 shrinkage parameters that are frequently used in soil engineering. The first one is the shrinkage index, and it is a numerical difference between liquid limit and the shrinkage limit, and the equation is given by IS equal to WL minus WS. The second one is the shrinkage ratio SR, and it is defined as a given volume change, which is expressed as the percentage of dry volume to corresponding change in water content. The equation is given by SR equals V1 minus V2 divided by Vd whole divided by W1 minus W2 into 100. So V1 is the volume of soil mass at water content W1 and V2 is the volume of soil mass at water content W2. When the volume V2 is at shrinkage limit, then the V2 is replaced by Vd. Vd is the volume of dry mass and W2 is replaced by Ws, which is the shrinkage limit. Hence the equation becomes SR equals V1 minus Vd divided by Vd whole divided by W1 minus Ws multiplied by 100. The third one is the volumetric shrinkage, and it is expressed as percentage of dry volume when the water content is reduced from a given value to shrinkage limit, and is given by Vs equals V1 minus Vd whole divided by Vd into 100. In order to reach into the equation Vs equals Sr into W1 minus Ws, consider the equation of shrinkage ratio, which is shown in slide number 18. That is Sr equals V1 minus Vd divided by Vd whole divided by W1 minus Ws into 100. So taking W1 minus Ws to the left side, Sr into W1 minus Ws equals V1 minus Vd whole divided by Vd, that equals Vs. So Vs equals Sr into W1 minus Ws. Then the last one is the linear shrinkage, and it is the change in length divided by initial length when the water reduced to shrinkage limit. So it is calculated by using the equation Ls equals 1 minus length of the oven dry sample divided by initial length of specimen, which is multiplied by 100. So figure number 10 shows the consistency of soil according to the Atterberg limits, which we have already discussed. In this graph, water content is taken in x-axis and in y-axis volume is considered. The figure clearly shows the boundaries of various states, and we can reach in the conclusion that on reaching from liquid state to semi-solid state, the volume decreases according to decrease in water content, and on reaching the shrinkage limit, the volume remains the same. Next, we will be having a discussion regarding plasticity, liquidity and consistency indexes. So coming to plasticity index, it is a water content over which soil remains in plastic state. In other way, we can say that plasticity index is a size of the range of water content where soil exhibits plastic properties. So soil with a high plasticity index tend to be clay, and with lower plasticity index tend to be silt. So the equation is given by IP equals WL minus WP. So here WL is the liquid limit and WP is the plastic limit. So the next one is the liquidity index, and it is used for scaling the natural water content of a soil sample to the limits. In easy way, we can say that for soil it indicates the nearness of its water content to its liquid limit. The equation is given by IL equals W minus WP whole divided by IP into 100. So W is the water content of soil in natural condition and WP is the plastic limit. IP is the plasticity index. From this diagram, it is understood that when the soil is at liquid limit, its liquidity index is 100%. When the soil is at plastic limit, its liquidity index is 0. If water content is smaller than the plastic limit, the liquidity index value will be a negative value. And liquidity index is also known as water plasticity ratio. Consistency index indicates the firmness of soil. It shows the nearness of water content of soil to its plastic limit. So the equation is given by IC equals WL minus W divided by IP into 100. So WL is the liquid limit and IP is the plasticity index. So from the diagram, if the consistency index is 0, soil is at liquid limit. It means soil is extremely soft and has negligible shear strength. If consistency index is 100%, then the soil is at plastic limit, indicating that the soil is relatively firm. There are two more conditions, that is, if consistency index value is greater than 100%, the soil is strong as it is the semi-solid state. There is a possibility of negative value for consistency index value, which means the water content is greater than the liquid limit. The consistency index can also known as relative consistency. Then coming to the flow index, it is the slope of flow curve obtained between the number of blows and water content in Casagrande's method of determination of liquid limit, which has been already discussed in slide number 8. So the equation is given by IF equals W1 minus W2 divided by log to the base 10 N2 divided by N1. Here N1 is the number of blows required at water content of W1 and N2 is the number of blows required at water content of W2. So the flow index can be determined from the flow curve by using any 2 points. Then coming to the toughness index, it is defined as a ratio of plasticity index to flow index, and which is given by the equation IT equals IP divided by IF, where IP is the plasticity index and IF is the flow index, and is a measure of shearing strength of soil at plastic limit. And the value of the toughness for most of the soil lies between 0 to 3. So based on the theories, now we can solve the numerical. The first practice problem is shown here. So the following index properties are determined for soil A and B. The liquid limit, plastic limit, water content, specific gravity, degree of saturation for both soil A and B is given in this particular table. So which soil among this, first question, contains more clay particle? B has a greater bulk density, C has greater dry density, D has a greater void ratio. So in order to obtain the values, first of all we can draw a table like this and determine the plasticity index. So the plasticity index is given by the equation WL minus WP. So the liquid limit and plastic limit for both the soil is given in the question. Substituting that particular values, we can determine the plasticity index. Then the second one is the void ratio. It is given by the equation Wg by S. Since the degree of saturation is 100%, we can substitute the value of S as 1. So W into G is given here as, for soil A, 0.35 into 2.7. The specific gravity which is given in the question. Similarly, for soil B, we can determine by substituting the water content and specific gravity. Then coming to the third, it is the dry density. It is given by the equation rho D equals G rho W divided by 1 plus E. G value is given in the question for both soil A and for soil B, and the E value is also has been determined in the previous step. Substituting that particular value, we can determine the dry density. And the last one is the bulk density. Rho equals rho D into 1 plus W. The value for the rho D has been determined in the step 3, which means the previous step, the dry density. Substituting the value of that dry density in the bulk density equation, we can determine the final values. So coming to the first question, the first question is that which contains more clay particle? So the plasticity index of A is more than that of B. So the soil A has more clay content than B. Then the second question is that which soil among this has a greater bulk density? So from the table we can reach in a conclusion that bulk density of B is greater than A. So soil B have more bulk density. Then the third question, which has greater dry density? So from the table itself we can say that soil B is having more dry density than soil A. The last question is that which soil among this has greater void ratio? So soil A is having more void ratio than soil B. So these are the results of the practice problem 1. Then coming to the second practice problem. The following data on consistency limits are available for two soil A and B. So the plastic limit, liquid limit, flow index and water content for soil A and B is given. Find which soil is, first question, more plastic, second question, better shear strength at plastic limit, and third question, which is suitable for the foundation. So draw a table like this, and first of all we need to determine the plasticity index, and it is given by the equation WL minus WP, and the liquid limit and plastic limit is already given in the question, so substituting that values we can determine the plasticity index value for both soil A and B. And the second question is that which soil is having better shear strength, so that for finding that we need to determine the toughness index, and it is given by the equation plastic limit minus flow index. The both of the values is given, which means the plastic limit and the flow index value for both soil A and B is given in the question. Substituting that value we can determine the toughness index values. Then the last question is that which is suitable for the foundation. So if we need to find the consistency index, we need to find the consistency index in order to get an idea regarding the foundation. So the consistency index value is given by can be determined using the equation IC equals WL minus W whole divided by IP multiplied by 100. So the WL value is given and the W value is also given. The plasticity index value is been determined in the previous step. On substituting that values, the consistency index for soil A and B is determined. So coming to the first question, first one is that which one is more plastic? The plasticity index for soil B is greater than soil A. So soil B is more plastic. Then the second question is better shear strength at plastic limit. Which soil is having that? So soil B is having more toughness index. Hence soil B is having greater shear strength at plastic limit. Then the last question, which is suitable for the foundation. So as I told before, we need to find the consistency index in order to get an idea regarding the foundation. So soil A is having a negative value. Therefore, soil B is suitable for the foundation. So thank you all for watching the video.